Google DeepMind just dropped new models today. Gemini 3.6 Flash and Gemini 3.5 Flash Lite. Notice what's missing? There's still no Gemini 3.5 Pro. The Pro model that was supposed to launch in June got delayed, and now Google is pushing their Flash lineup instead. Here's the situation: Gemini 3.6 Flash is significantly faster, uses up to 65% fewer tokens to solve tasks, and cuts output pricing down to $7.50 per $1 million tokens. In fact, right now this Flash model is actually Google's strongest available model, outperforming their older 3.1 Pro across every metric. But if you look closely at the benchmark tables Google posted in their own release card, the real story is very different. In this video, we're going to break down what Gemini 3.6 Flash actually is, compare the real benchmarks against Grok 4.5, GPT 5.6 Luna, and Claude Sonnet 5, and answer the only question that matters: should you actually switch to it? Let's start with what Google actually improved. Because if you're already in the Google ecosystem, there are legitimate upgrades here. First, token efficiency. According to the Artificial Analysis Index, 3.6 Flash cuts output token usage by 17% overall and up to 65% on deepest W software engineering tasks. That means fewer reasoning steps and fewer tool calls per run. Second, pricing. Input pricing stays flat at $1.50 per $1 million tokens, but output pricing dropped down to $7.50 per million tokens. Third, benchmark jumped across the board against 3.5 Flash. Deepest WE jumps from 37% up to 49%. MLE bench rises from 49.7% to 63.9%. OS Worth verified hits 83.0% up from 78.4%. Fourth, computer use is now built directly into the model alongside strong chart reasoning, 89.4%, and effortless inline SVG generation. Plus, DeepMind didn't just drop 3.6 Flash, they also released 3.5 Flash Lite for ultra-low latency and 3.5 Flash Cyber for security workflows. So if you're building high-throughput agentic pipelines, scanning massive documents, or using desktop computer automation, 3.6 Flash is a solid upgrade. Now, let's talk about why this release is raising major questions. If you read past Google's internal baseline comparisons, where they only compare 3.6 Flash against their own older 3.5 Flash, and look at the broader market, the picture changes completely. On swe-bench Pro, real-world software engineering, Gemini 3.6 Flash still gets beaten by Grok 4.5 and GPT 5.6 Luna. On terminal bench and deep agentic coding, GPT 5.6 Luna takes the lead, while being cheaper on output tokens than 3.6 Flash. On machine learning engineering, while 3.6 Flash. On machine learning rendering, while 3.6 Flash improved 63.9%, Claude Sonnet 5 still leads the overall frontier. And in DeepMind's own release notes, they confirmed that Gemini 3.5 Pro is still in partner testing, while pre-training for Gemini 4 has already started. That means their Frontier Pro lineup is lagging behind their Flash releases. So what's the bottom line on Gemini 3.6 Flash? If you are already integrated into the Google API ecosystem and you rely on Flash for high-speed long context document parsing or visual chart processing, you get a faster, cheaper model today with zero code changes. If you are a developer looking for top-tier frontier coding intelligence, 3.6 Flash isn't built to compete with the top tier. Drop a comment below. Are you using Flash models in production, or are you waiting for the Pro lineup? I read every comment. Now, if you want to actually test Gemini 3.6 Flash right now for free, it is available today inside AI Studio and Anti-Gravity IDE. You will find all the links in the description. Subscribe if you want more real side-by-side breakdowns like this one. No sponsored takes, no hype, just the numbers. I will see you in the next one.